Hello and welcome once again to Ignite Your Impact. My name is Jen Rhodes. It is a gorgeous morning and I am seated next to my husband, Matt.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
Excellent. You didn't say anything about my Jayhawk shirt.
I know I was supposed to.
I figured I'm paying the tuition. I might as well represent. So
That's
rock
right.
chalk.
Yeah.
Don't worry, guys. I'm still a gorilla. Once a gorilla, always a gorilla. But now you know where most of my loyalties and money are going. Okay, back on track, Jen. So I want to jump in today with one of my favorite topics. I often say that motivation is for assholes, but we're going to explain why. Matt put something out on his social earlier about motivation and how that word is holding you back in essence. It doesn't mean you're an asshole. It's just, it's creating a lid, if you will. So if you're listening, maybe you've been with us a while. Maybe this is your first time catching one of our episodes. Hi, hello. My name's Jen. That's Matt. You're already motivated. Like you're already digging in to see what it's going to take to kind of move that needle, right? Whether it be for vanity. Maybe you want to look pretty naked. That was my goal I'd set for years. That was like, I just want to look pretty naked.
That's a good goal.
Naked crouching. Shout out to the Seinfeld fans. Maybe you want to do this for your health. Like, I just want to feel healthy. Maybe you want to set a good example for your kids. These are all good things. So we're not poo-pooing on that. Maybe you have an existing closet full of clothes that don't fit, and that frustrates you.
Yeah, and where I was going with my post is you're already motivated, just like you just said.
Yeah.
For guys, we're already motivated to walk onto the beach and take our shirt off. We're already motivated when we get in that picture with all of our high school friends to look fit, to look good, to look like we demand excellence of ourselves. And more important, the biggest one is the sexual part of it. Us guys want to be able to feel good when we take our shirt off and crawl into bed. We already have motivation. So you don't need the motivation was the whole point of that post. Motivation's what's getting in your way. You already got it.
Yes. For women, it's not the taking the shirt off to get into bed, but like hiding behind your kids in pictures. I did that for years. It was great because I just had one on my hip. So it was just kind of like this handy dandy little cover up. Canon was my favorite cover up. But you're already motivated. You're already taking the steps. And we've talked in previous episodes about how your identity predicts your values and how your values predict your beliefs and how your beliefs lead to your behaviors. And then your behaviors lead to your outcome. So that motivation is actually at the tail end of that. Motivation is inside that behavior, inside that belief. It's at the tail end of that spectrum. We've talked about it. We've done a lot about it in the past few weeks. And if you haven't caught our previous episodes, go back and listen to them and hit this one last, or just stay with us today. That's cool too. I think, what is this? Number 48?
I think so.
Oh my goodness. My word. But we've talked about this before, how that progression from identity all the way to behaviors. But it's not that easy to change your identity. We've talked about that. It takes a lot of time. Maybe. Time is a construct. It takes a lot of time, but it also takes proof. Like you need that proof that, oh, it's actually working. So we want to hit today from a completely different angle.
Yeah. So for me personally, I woke up one day and said, this is not me. This is not my identity. This is not what I dreamed of. This is not where I thought I'd be in my 40s. And I changed. Obviously, it took some time and some massive training to change my identity. But I woke up one day and said, this is it.
It was like an overnight thing with you. It was like a light switch flipped.
But it's easier said than done. And I realized that through some of the changes with Jen, but more so that we work with so many clients now. I quickly learned that not everyone can flip on a dime like that. That's just not the way it works. It works for me, but it doesn't work for every client. So that's why Jen says we want to take this from a different angle. We want to talk a little bit more about how, this is some of the things that we do with clients, but this is how we get rid of that word motivation, because it may be tough to switch your identity on day one it was easy for me. It may be tough for a lot of people. So that's why we want to take this from a different angle. So if you are trying to do this and trying to change that identity, but not wondering how or where to start or how it's going to work, or you need quick proof, that's what we want to talk about today.
Yeah.
Because the reason it's so hard to change your identity is because of the programming that's in your head. I would say most of our clients are between the ages of 40 and 50?
Yeah.
Probably our listeners too. You're probably in that age range, which means you've had a lot of years of programming. When I say programming, I want you to think of things that you said to yourself over time. Can I really do this? I'm really not that good. Beginner's luck. This is going to be hard. Teach old dog new tricks. Those are actually programming that you've been putting in your head for so many years. And that's why it's so hard to change that so quickly. What you play in your mind is just a coming attraction of what's going to happen. Those things that you're saying. And it's tough to break that language cycle when you've been doing it for so long. It's tough to do it a different way. So let me put this a different way. Motivation is only needed when there's something you don't want. I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to eat healthy. I don't want to put in the extra hours at work. I need to be motivated to do those things. And that's where the term motivation is getting in the way. If you can't change your identity, don't rely on motivation. Because after my post that I put out there that you mentioned in the beginning, my senses were opened. And I saw 3 or 4, maybe 5 people put stuff out that said, you've got this. Stay motivated today. Power through the day.
Grind harder. Yeah, respect the grind.
Lean into the grind. All those things. And here's the problem with that is because that's talking about just being motivated for the day. And you're going to work super hard. And maybe it's not for a day. Maybe it's for 30 days. Maybe it's 60 days. Maybe you've tried 75 hard. That's where the burnout happens. When you rely on motivation to get what you want, that's where the problem comes in. You can't rely on motivation. What you have to rely on is a true desire. There's a huge difference between desire and motivation. Obviously, desire leads to identity, but we're going to reverse engineer this for you today. The answer to true desire, again, is not motivation, but you have to create it in your unconscious mind, because you can't just say, I want this or I want that. I want this 6-pack of abs. Because if you do that, you're just lying to yourself day after day. And then you're trying to power through it, which is the motivation piece that doesn't work. You have to have true desire.
So something that I was thinking about, and we were discussing this earlier, was with creating that desire, with creating that motivation. When I decided enough was enough, 95 pounds on this 5-foot frame sucked. I was done. You wanted your wife back. I made the decision and I got hell-bent, but I don't think I ever had the true desire until recently. And I'm going to explain why. Your experience. Let's think about one of our longer term transformations. 6 months? 9 months?
9 months.
9 months, if that. And that's rare. We can usually hit the mark sooner, but this specific goal was incredibly meticulous, granular. We had gotten really, really, really in the finite details of this specific transformation. Guys, if I put your goal of whatever other goals you may have in your life in a 9-month time frame, bet your ass you would be motivated. So what are you really deeming as motivated. 95 pounds, I was able to get off in 9 months. And it wasn't because I was motivated. It was because I had no other choice. I had to get back. I had that desire. And so I don't want to say you're this or that, kind of a list, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But like, do I want this or do I want that? And every decision that wasn't helping that one vision I had for myself was hurting it. If it wasn't helping me, it was hurting me, and it had to go. And that's what true desire can lead to. I've never looked back. You could pay me $4 million and I would never go back to that body. I'm sure you're okay with that too.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You're like, I don't care what size you are, you just have to be blonde. But once I had that vision in my head of what I was going for, what I wanted my life to look like, what I wanted my energy levels to be at, what, like, down to the finite details, start to finish, it only took me 9 months. And you traveled 5 days a week, and I had a newborn and a job. Like, you could have added so many different excuses in there. I just got hell-bent on my vision. So I don't know. Like, true desire is one thing. Motivation in my head feels more like a grind. Like, how much extra work are you going to have to put around making these decisions? If you truly desire it, the decisions are easy, and then you don't need the motivation. It's just part of your DNA. And it was not part of my DNA prior. I have not grown up in the fitness industry. It was that decision that started the snowball effect that I was like, oh, I actually like this. This feels good. I'm a badass. And then we got the idea to start opening gyms. So just know, motivation is for assholes. Because if you're crystal clear on what you really want, not what you don't want, if you know what you want and you will fight to the death for it, you don't need motivation. Like Matt hit the nail on the head in his post.
I would say that was good.
Thanks.
The word that
Rock
jumps
chalk. No.
the word that jumps out to me is you said vision.
Mm.
And here's how you get. Let's tie this up a little bit. In my opinion, the reason you don't need motivation is if you have a true vision. But that vision has to be so seductive that in your mind, that's all you can see. When I say seductive, I just, that word.
That's perfect.
In my mind just creates something. I'm so seduced to have a relationship with my wife, a relationship with my kids, my health to be on point, my finances to be on point. I have a seduction around those things, and I have a vision of what it's going to look like, not in 9 months. There's checkpoints in there, but it's 20, it's 30 years down the line. Now, I know that as we've talked about, it's hard to change your identity. Well, maybe it's hard to think 30 years down the line. That's fine. Think 2 years down the line. That's coming quickly. But you put that vision in your head and you let it seduce you day and night. As Jen said, that vision will cause you to start making the right decisions. You may not be able to change your identity in the way you think in some of the programming, but when you start having that vision in your head of who you are and who you want to be and what you want that end term to be, that programming that you've been putting in your head will start to change. You'll start to say different things to yourself. You'll start to succeed in certain areas you didn't think you could. But it starts with seduction and desire of an end goal, and to use all of your time thinking about it, dreaming about it, seeing it, smelling it, hearing it, all the senses that go into that, then you don't need motivation. Because it's human nature. When you have all that wrapped up around it, you're naturally going to start making the decisions you need to make to get to those end goals.
Yeah. I like the word seduction because it implies an unconscious behavior. You know, babe, that was fire. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today, whether you're in the gym, in your car, walking your dog. If this hit for you, make sure you tag us in your Insta stories, like it, share it, love it, 5-star reviews, all of the things. With that, we'll talk to you guys next time.